and only slightly better than the previous strategies. And the governments couldn't really ensure development without a planned approach, especially in the developed countries. And the consensus strategy was replaced with another strategy called the mixed economy strategy.
The mixed economy strategy. Mixed economy is a strategy that is placed midway between the extreme strategies of planned economy and Washington consensus strategy. The strategy essentially was all about striking a balance between role of state or government and market or private sector, but with no permanent inclination to either.
It came up initially in the East Asian economies and was able to propel higher growth rates, reduce poverty, reduce illiteracy, improve healthcare, so on and so forth.
Like already mentioned, in the Indian context, economic reforms became synonymous with an increasing inclination towards a market economy. But by the time India went for economic reforms, almost the whole world worked in favor of liberalization, privatization, and globalization, with the World Trade Organization being one of the most prominent advocates of the same.
Economic reforms in India were launched in 23 July 1991 as response to a severe balance of payment crisis. Against the popular misconception, economic reforms are not a single-step process at all. It is a step-by-step process with its related programs still going on.
The first steps towards economic reforms started back in 1980s itself. But these demands were primarily based on the Washington consensus ideology and witnessed limited deregulation and partial liberalization attempts. These steps towards realizing the consensus had a crippling effect on the economy.
The Washington consensus-based policies promoted a relaxation of market regulations with heavy external borrowings to support exports. This led to an initial hike in growth rate, led by a higher industrial growth, which was based on costly imports supported by foreign borrowings, which soon became so massive that it was impossible for the industries to pay back. This substantially increased the foreign debt, contributing immensely on the balance of payment crisis.
The immediate cause of the crisis was the Gulf War of 1991, which had two major negative impacts on the Indian foreign exchange reserves. Firstly, the oil prices increased massively, forcing India to use its forex reserve to fund its imports, rapidly depleting it. Secondly, private remittances from Indians working in the Gulf countries fell due to their emergency evacuation.
There were other problems as well which were crippling the